Hello again. Here we are from Inside AR live from the fair, and with me is Rohit Talwar. Did I pronounce it right?
Rohit Talwar, yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming in here in the interview. I just saw your keynote, and my first question is, how long will it take until we have the holodeck?
So what we do is we're futurists. We help governments, companies, investors understand what might be coming next and how to prepare for the future. We don't really try and predict exactly what's going to happen when, because we're much more interested in how you'll use these things. So holodecks already, we have basic versions of those with augmented and virtual reality. You're seeing the military use them for training purposes. You're seeing doctors use them for learning how to do various types of surgery. People using these immersive environments already. Commercially available ones, so where you and I could go to Disneyland and step onto a holodeck, I'd say you'll see one within 3 to 5 years of a true immersive multi-sensory holodeck where you're not just seeing things, but you'll have touch sensations, maybe even smell sensations.
I talked to a guy working for the Disney Studios. He invented Air Real. It's an air gun where you can put tactile sensations on your skin, like a butterfly is a virtual reality flying on your hand, and then you feel it too. But I think we need some for the glass. We need some glasses to see what's not real in these holodecks. How will it be in the next years?
So what we see right now is that everything we're really working with is an early probe. It's a prototype, whether it's glasses. People in the consumer space won't want to wear glasses all the time. With the tactile stuff, it's some sort of air vibration that most people are using, or a heat sensation. With taste, it's a big headset that has to stimulate your tongue, the same with smell. What we're going to see is that these will evolve. So the vision stuff will be with contact lenses, most likely active contact lenses. The touch stuff will be with tattoos that are applied to your skin that both pick up signals from your body and transmit them into your body, which you'll peel on and peel off. And then with the taste and smell sensations, those will be through tiny electrodes on the side of your head, which will be almost invisible, and they'll stimulate actively your brain to deliver those signals. And again, we're looking at 3 to 5 years before we start to see some of this stuff come. The fully immersive, non-intrusive kind of experience we're talking about, 5 to 10 years. But by that time, people will have a lot of embedded devices in their bodies. And so truly immersive experiences will also tap into devices you have inside your body, whether it's chips that can stimulate drug delivery or stimulate certain senses, or things that monitor your health, things that give you active sensation in localized part of your body. All of those will be coming in about the next 5 to 10 years again. So when these come together, our immersive experience on the holodeck will be almost completely unrecognizable from what we're talking about right now.
So is it not a danger for us in the future to decide whether it's a real world or it's a virtual world? I think we can we will have problems to decide what's real.
Well, today, augmented reality has been hijacked by the technologists. But what we're really talking about is, an enhanced form of reality, where you're blending what's going on in the digital world with the physical world, and the two blur seamlessly, and there'll be layers on each other. So the physical world will provide layers in your virtual world experience, and you'll layer virtual world skins, if you like. So whether it's the scenes you're seeing, whether it's the image I see on top of your face that I want to see, whether it's the smells I experience, the sounds I hear, we're going to create these very rich realities. That could mean that people live in their own bubble and don't interact as much, and we're already seeing that with some technologies, but it could also enhance the way people operate in the world. It might make them happier. So we don't know right now. There's people in both camps arguing that this is a terrible thing and others saying this is fantastic. All of those conversations will get even more confused as we start to implant more and more technology in our bodies. And you'll get the people who are very anti-cyborgs and the people who are saying, actually, why shouldn't we hack our bodies? Why shouldn't we extend them beyond what the natural capabilities were?
That's very interesting. I have a vision of the future from now on in 15 years. I wrote in my blog that young people who were born today, they are 15 years old then, and see a film from our time now, and they will ask their parents, what do these people do? They stare in those displays. Isn't that dangerous on the streets? What do you think of this vision? Could it be real in 15 years?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The rate the technology is moving, we could well be having everything as a projected image in front of us, so holograms overlaid on our natural field of vision, and everything becoming a display surface. The idea of a screen could be seen as very 20th century, that just hung on for 20 years in the 21st century. And we could start to have much richer tactile displays in 3 and 4 and 5 dimensions and 6 dimensions, where we start to overlay richer and richer information in the same way as we do in the physical world. But we're not there yet in the digital world, so we find it hard to believe. But for generations coming through, it makes no sense to them to be using technology, particularly in the workplace, that seems to be 2 generations behind what they have in the palm of their hands.
I think especially for children, there's a video on YouTube I use in my courses where it's a little girl, and she's used to using an iPad, and then she gets a magazine, and she's trying to work with a magazine like with the iPad, and it doesn't work, and you see that, oh, it's not working. So I think the children born today, they will be raised with technologies, and that they get used to it.
That's only the same as you and I. We had an interface. It might have been Lego bricks. It was the toys we played with. No one really had to teach us how to play with them. We manipulated, we played with them. Today's kids are growing up with a very visual interface, and they're learning that if you touch it, you swipe it, things happen. So it's natural that when they see other images, they want to do the same with them, and then they get very bored when paper doesn't have the same same kind of interface as a screen. I don't think that means the kids today are being born more advanced. I don't think they're born with more capabilities. I simply think it means that their interface to the world is different, and they've learned that, and they can build on that. We, the generations coming from behind, are always worried we're going to break something. We grew up thinking that if you press the wrong button, you'd break something, or, you got your kids in to switch it on just in case you made a mistake, whether it was the remote control for your TV or for your VHS player, or now your computer or your smartphone. We still have that concern that we're going to break things. The generations coming through now have grown up with technology that largely works most of the time. And if it breaks, it's a throwaway society, so you just get another one. And with most things, they only hang on to it for a while anyway. They get bored, they move on. So they don't have that same kind of emotional attachment and that same level of fear as we had from a generation that was, if you like, a post-conflict generation that had scarcity, that valued everything it got and was really scared of breaking it because we were in the white heat of technological progress. Now they're just surrounded by it, and it doesn't have the same kind of wow factor to it.
I think cloud computing is one of those features. If your iPhone gets lost, you just buy a new one, and you have all your data there if you have it in the cloud. So people are not afraid of using a device anymore. In former times, it was all your information in the book was gone if you written it in, because it has only one copy. So what is, in your opinion, what is the most disrupting technology for companies in the future?
By far the most disruptive will be artificial intelligence, and the next stage of that, which is super intelligence. We're at the stage now where we're developing systems that are getting close in some areas to human capacity. So IBM's Watson can outthink humans when it comes to search and identifying potential solutions to problems in fixed domains like in medicine. Over time, they'll get smarter and smarter. And some people believe it's 20 years away, some people believe it's 60 years away, but we'll end up with what's called artificial general intelligence or super intelligence that ends up being more intelligent than humans. And then that's really hard to understand, because if it's smarter than us, it's hard for us to understand what it might be capable of. It might reinvent science. It might come up with whole new scientific disciplines. It might change the whole way we run economies. It might be much smarter in terms of how we deal with conflict. But because we're tied to old patterns, we don't learn as fast as we should. So we still think that war is a great way of solving problems. And so an artificial general intelligence will evolve, but it won't just get a little better than us because it learns and can keep learning. and erase what doesn't work anymore, whereas we still try and cling on to what doesn't work anymore, it will get faster and faster, and it will get smarter and smarter on an exponential basis. So we could see a world where literally the technology just outstrips us. And then we'll have to kind of work out how we negotiate our truce with the technology to say, how do we coexist in this world where the technology is doing everything? There'll be questions like, where will the jobs come from, or how will people get money to buy the goods and services being produced by the robots and by the smart systems? How will we govern? How will we educate? What are we educating our kids for? All those questions come up when you move into a world of true artificial intelligence.
Oh, it sounds interesting, but it sounds scary as well, because I saw this film with Hal, the computer who did everything, and they tried to stop him, but he has more brain, and so they couldn't stop him.
Most films that talk about the future and a super intelligent future have a very negative view of that future and its impact on society. You look at the film Her, where he has an operating system that's artificially intelligent, and they start off by falling in love, and it's a great relationship, but very quickly she outgrows him, and then she says she's leaving him because he's just not smart enough to keep up with her. And he says to her, well, how many people have you been caring for while you've been caring for me in this way? And she says, oh, about 8,500. And he says, well, of those, how many did you fall in love with? And she says, 654. And that's the kind of thing we have to get our heads around, is the scale of difference and the scale of the potential of what's coming. But most films have a relatively negative view of what happens when we go into an artificially intelligent world. They don't present a utopian view where we all live together in harmony and the technology enables us. Star Trek is possibly close to that in the Federation, where it's, vaguely happy. But in most places, most visions look quite negative. In science fiction, in science fiction writing, there are a lot of more interesting views about how this could play out. And if we want to look at possible futures, I'd certainly encourage people to read a range of science fiction writers.
What is the most interesting feature here on Inside AR for you, in your respect? What would you say somebody has to see if he attends here on Inside AR?
I think it's a range of applications, starting to see just the whole potential of this stuff, how fast the technology is moving. So the idea of overlaying glasses on your face and you being able to turn around and the glasses stay perfectly in position, things that really position you well spatially, positions objects correctly in a room with the shadows falling in the right place, the price dropping for augmented reality and even virtual reality, and then that blurring of the boundaries between the augmented reality and virtual reality technology vendors. Those are artificial divides in the eyes of the consumer. The consumer just wants to experience an overlay on the world or to visit new worlds. They don't really care what you call it. It's only us in the commercial space who are selling it that are trying to put these neat boxes around what we're doing.
Okay, was a nice interview with you. Thank you for being here on Inside AR and bloggercamp.tv. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.